still at a higher SPL at any given frequency across the bandwidth that you were asking for, and it kind of blows you away to think that you've paid for a 1,000 watt amplifier, you're receiving 250 watts, and you're doing way more output and everything else that you were really asking for. You're getting more of everything with even less power using one of his designs, which is our goal. That's efficiency. You know, when you can get the efficiency as high as possible on using a subwoofer, which is the least efficient freaking thing in the whole damn car. I mean, there's nothing less efficient than a subwoofer. I mean, seriously, except for I'm trying to think. Yeah, his mother-in-law. Yeah, there really is nothing less efficient than that. Think of any machine, anything that you've ever used in your life. What is less efficient than a 1% or less efficient subwoofer?
Well, for the electrical power put in, you're receiving maybe right around 1% acoustic energy return.
Is that not sick? And the rest turns into what? Does everybody know?
Heat.
Quiz? Heat. Your subwoofer turns 99% or sometimes even more, actually often more, than 99% of what you put into it is turned into heat, and 1% turns into what the hell you're looking for.
That plus a little bit of stray electromagnetic flux.
Let's see how we can affect the rest of the car. What the hell is that?
That is...
That's a sheet metal car, dude. That's the shit.
That is weird.
So thinking about that, I mean, wouldn't you want to not throw more power at something? It's our goal from from day one. If I could make something loud as piss and as loud as you wanted it with 90 watts worth of input power, then good God, I would want that more, and I would hope that everybody would want that more than trying to make something that has to get that loud using 900 watts worth of power. Hence, Pete's designs. They get stupid loud with, and they give you what you want when without using a bunch of power. What was it that we were talking about?
I don't know.
The ADD has kicked in, but at least I got like a couple 100 miles.
Yeah.
Anyway, do the testing and find out for yourself what kind of power that you're getting out of these. Oh, for the dealers to do these tests and find out between two vehicles what kind of a difference they're getting, and you'll see that each one of these vehicles, when you put the power to it and start destroying these vehicles with acoustic energy, man, every vehicle is going to be different. It depends on how well that one little spot weld was done, and that could be something that's a full fender brace or a quarter panel brace, and one spot weld comes loose, and whap! Now that whole panel becomes a passive radiator and assists the trunk. So essentially, the rear of the trunk becomes larger to the enclosure that is placed in it, which, by his system is defined as an aperiodic chamber. The chamber now just became much larger, and it throws off the parameters.
More larger also, it depends what direction you're losing energy. Either way, you're transferring needless acoustic energy outside of the vehicle where it's not supposed to go.
And you guys, now there's a bunch of customers, most of which do not spend time on YouTube, that want that kind of performance. Let's say they want their trunk to rattle like crazy. They don't give a shit what actually goes on inside the car. All they want is everybody down the road, and when they pass them, they want to hear shit rattling like crazy because it's
actually a fad, believe it or not. Some people in Georgia do that.
Yeah, that's what I call the South. That's the dirty South bass.
And you don't need a subwoofer. You just put an angle grinder in there.
I'll tell you something that we used to do. Oh my God! There's a company I used to work for. Actually, it didn't work for. I just did some enclosures for a long time ago, and it was it Tent Plus Sound. I can't remember the other one. Sound Shop. That's owned by Ray McKenzie, that owns Batcat. That one's still there in business. It's in Dothan, Alabama, rural America. We used to do enclosures for these guys once in a while when they had customers just wanting something more, than what they were getting. And seriously, some of the guys wanted their trunk to rattle. That's all they wanted, was the thing to rattle a whole lot more. So one day, I had this epiphany. Shit, why don't I just throw in some, or silicone in some pockets in the rear deck lid and throw some damn bolts and nails and screws and shit back there. So I put, crap bolts that we got from, extra bolts from cars and all that stuff. Every installer has a couple billion drawers full of that. We'd empty that shit in the back and then silicone it in. And lo and behold, the guy absolutely loved his car because the back rattled a whole lot more. It was absolutely hilarious. It's almost as bad as selling people, if you've ever heard from back in the day, back late 80s, mid 90s to somewhere around mid 90s it died, I think, was some dealers were selling unsuspecting and unknowing customers nitrous oxide injection into their sealed boxes. And they were going to pick up their SPL at a show and get louder by spraying nitrous oxide into the box and then quickly shutting the, bolting the subwoofer back in place. And holy crap, that was something that went around for quite a while. That was pretty hilarious, I thought. Psst, spray your nitrous and put it in there. So now you've got a nitrous-charged subwoofer enclosure. And right away, too, they were sounding, you hear that? Man, that shit's louder, And maybe the guy had gone off and turned the gain up or something on the amplifier, which is probably the worst damn thing he could have done. And the customer leaves there, yeah, man, it's louder, and he was paying $50 for the guy to turn a knob on his amplifier.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Days of the 90s. But there's so many tests for you to do with a clamp meter and a voltmeter. And if you have an SPL meter, it's 4 times better. But just to understand what's happening to your system throughout its frequency bandwidth.
Or if you're just testing the amplifier off nice 4-ohm dummy load, so that at least stays constant. Oh, hell yeah.
I like it. Maybe I'll get one of those if I get rich, right? You really should take the time to find out what is going on with your car. And knowing these, I don't even want to call them scientific, method of testing thing, but the smart way, the intelligent way of testing your system, knowing your system. You may even want to write it all down. That's what would be better. And then if something comes up later, some discrepancy in the sound system, you can do that test again and likely find that something has changed, and it is due to You could literally find out if it's going to be an amplifier problem, if you've got a subwoofer problem, if you've got an enclosure issue as far as build quality, if the car is coming apart, or one of the biggest thing, if your ground has come loose. It's amazing to think and to hear from specifically from my dealers, I would have to say, and I'm not saying all of you, by the way, some of you that didn't register that there's a possibility that the ground will come loose. The first argument would be, and I don't even know why it's an argument, if I would ever ask a dealer or an end user to check their ground. No, the ground is good. I made sure the ground was good. Okay. Have you checked the ground since the day that you created the ground? No. Or yes, I went off and checked it. Some people just plain lie to you, because we're hunting down, let's say, a reason for a subwoofer, the subwoofer's coils to be burnt. Especially in systems where we may get 2 woofers back, or not even receive the woofers yet. The guy puts in an RA request for 2 woofers, and you're like, okay, is there something that clicked in your head that said, I don't think that both of my woofers should have burnt at the exact same time? If that clicks, then you may go, let me go into diagnostics mode instead of casting blame mode. Because I guarantee you, in the period of time that your 2 subwoofers were working, we did not send you a pair of subwoofers that came with burnt coils. So, knowing that, you should try to go into diagnostics mode. Don't play dummy. Go into this mode that says, why would this have happened? And try to think that maybe all of these things that create your system, that make up your system, are actually simple devices. The subwoofer is very simple. The amplifier, to an extent, is very simple. The enclosure is very simple, and the circuitry, let's say the The charging circuit is fairly simple. So finding out from the front to the back where your problem is should be the first goal, and that's our first goal, is to diagnose what's going on with the car, versus thinking in terms